In less than 45 minutes, members of the House Intel Committee will go behind closed doors to meet with the nation's top intelligence officials and ask them questions they couldn't pose in public after this morning's televised hearing on the fallout over a group chat security breach. This was Colorado Democratic Congressman Jason Crow, a veteran of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, earlier in that hearing.
It is completely outrageous to me that administration officials come before us today with impunity, no acceptance of responsibility, excuse after excuse after excuse, while we send our men and women downrange to do incredibly difficult, incredibly dangerous things on our behalf. And yet, nobody is willing to come to us and say this was wrong. This was a breach of security and we won't do it again.
He joins us now. Congressman, first of all, I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado, so you're making me miss my home state. But thanks for joining us. On a much more serious note.
You're always welcome back, Christina.
But you'll have to tell my bosses. We'll do a special show from there. But look, yesterday, you wouldn't say whether you thought Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth should resign. But today, you are calling on him to do just that. What is it that made you change your mind? Was it the release of these full messages, or was it something else?
It was the release of the messages. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I didn't want to politicize this issue. I wanted the facts, and I wanted to see where those facts led us. But with the publication this morning of very clear mission planning, war plans, advance warning of a strike that very clearly put those aviators, those pilots at tremendous risk, I had had enough. I had seen enough. It's very clear what happened here. They posted highly sensitive, top secret information on an unsecured chat chain, which, by the way, one of the people on that chat chain was literally in Moscow at the time, negotiating with Vladimir Putin, is really beyond the pale.
Yeah, Steve Witkoff was traveling through Russia. Another official on that chain was traveling through Asia, although they declined to say earlier today where exactly they were. Look, but today the Trump administration is doubling down on their argument that these signal chain messages were not classified. You're a former Army Ranger. Does that dog hunt to you? You know, when you look at them in hindsight, now they may not be classified, but is that different when it's operational information that's happening in real time? And can you talk to us about how that classification can change?
Yeah, classifications can change, but clearly, A, this was classified information, and B, even if it weren't classified information, it was very sensitive and forecasted a pending military operation. Right, in a way that if our adversaries had hacked that or had access to it, and we actually don't know whether they did or didn't at this point, and transmitted that to the rebel group that was the target of the strike. This is a rebel group, by the way. These are not folks riding around in the back of pickup trucks with AK-47s. This is an army. Right? The Houthis is actually an army. They have some of the most sophisticated air defense systems and weapons in the world. They have actually shot down U.S. aircraft, Reaper drones in the past, actually very recently. So tremendous risk that our airmen were put under in this situation. But listen, the worst part of all this, right, mistakes do sometimes happen, right? And we're just really glad that no one died here. To me, the increasingly worst part of this story is the complete impunity and lack of acceptance of responsibility. They just don't think they did anything wrong, and they're trying to sweep it all under the rug, which tells me they believe that people at the top have no accountability. Right? If this had happened to a private, to a captain, to a general, those people would have been gone in an instant. There would have been court-martials, there would have been investigations. But with the Trump administration, what always seems to be the case is if you're at the top, you're immune. And that's just unacceptable.
On that note, I want to play you a clip of some of what President Trump said yesterday about this.
Look, if it was up to me, everybody would be sitting in a room together. The room would have solid lead walls and a lead ceiling and a lead floor. But, you know, life doesn't always let you do that.
Do you think that Mike Waltz made a mistake, and does he need to apologize?
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect. And probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
That's all right. I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
Let's get everyone in a secure room when doing secure things. isn't this what they were supposed to be doing in the first place? And what do you make of the explanation that it's the technology that's not perfect?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Somebody should tell the President of the United States that that room actually exists. It's called the Situation Room, and it's used exactly for this purpose. You know, hey, if only there were secure systems that transmitted classified information. If only there are these things called SCIFs, special compartmented information facilities, where people are supposed to sit and have these conversations and transmit that information. Oh, wait, all of this does exist, which makes their cavalier, reckless approach here all the worse.